Hey, and welcome into the Big Ten Huddle. I'm your host, JR, and if you love Big Ten basketball and football, you need to subscribe to this channel. We have a channel for each and a podcast feed that combines the two together. If you're listening to the podcast, please give us a 5-star rating and subscribe. If you're listening on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. We really appreciate it. It helps me deliver better content for you all, and that's what you all love, is the content. So, all right, folks, let's dive into an absolute thriller from Carver Hawkeye Arena on Wednesday, where the Oregon Ducks squeaked out a 80-78 victory over the Iowa Hawkeyes in a game that went down to the wire. This was a Big Ten clash that had everything: big plays, standout performances, questionable calls, and a finish that left both fan bases holding their breath. Let's break it all down, starting with the wild ending that almost flipped the entire script. To start this recap, we have got to talk about the final minutes because Iowa had every chance to steal this one, and officiating played a huge role. The Oregon, with Oregon up 80-78 in just 13 seconds left, the Ducks guard, Jackson Shelstad, fumbled an inbound pass and stepped out of bounds. A blatant turnover that gave Iowa new life in the game. Then, 5 seconds left on the clock, Josh Dix missed a layup, and after a scramble for the ball goes out of bounds. The refs reviewed it, ruled it Oregon's ball, or ruled it off of Oregon, giving Iowa the ball for one more shot. Nate Bittle helped off of a screen and blocked Josh Dix's step back three, and Evan Braun's buzzer beater tip in that he tried to get banked off the rim. But here's the kicker early. Shelstad had a three-pointer waved off after a review because it came just after the shot clock expired. That call was razor close, and Oregon fans would have argued it cost them the game if Dix had made either of his shots. Look, officiating isn't why Iowa lost this game. 2 missed layups in the clutch, but sure, it added fuel to the fire for a Hawkeyes team that's now dropped to 8 of their last 10. Oregon dodged a bullet, and Iowa's left wondering what could have been. Now, let's rewind to the start because Oregon came out swinging. They were dominant in the paint early. The Ducks led nearly 19 minutes of the first half, turning Iowa's interior defense into Swiss cheese. Nate Bittle was the star of the show, dropping 14 points in the first 20 minutes alone. He was unstoppable, hitting jumpers, dunking, and cleaning up the glass. By halftime, Oregon had racked up 26 points in the paint and led 45-37. Bartholomew chipped in 7 points, including a big three, while Evans Jr. added 6 off the bench. The Ducks shot 52.9% from the floor and were humming offensively. Iowa, meanwhile, leaned on Josh Dix, who had 15 points by the break, and Peyton Sandford, who added 10. They kept it close, tying it at 20-20, but Oregon's 11-4 run, fueled by Bittle and Bartholomew, gave them the edge. The Hawkeyes struggled to defend the rim, and 5 of their first half turnovers didn't help. Still, they hung around, showing the fight that kept them competitive despite a tough season. The second half was a different story because Oregon's defense hit the snooze button, and Iowa pounced. The Hawkeyes opened with a 12-4 run, tying it at 49-49 behind Peyton Sandford's three-point barrage. He went 4 for 7 from 3 in just one half, and Evan Braun's surprising spark off the bench. Iowa took their first lead since 1-0 at 54-53 on a Sandford triple. From there, it was a seesaw battle. Oregon answered with back-to-back threes with Bartholomew and TJ Bamba to reclaim the lead, but they couldn't shake Iowa. The final 5 minutes were a mess for Oregon's offense. They went stagnant, letting the shot clock bleed out multiple possessions and ending with a turnover or bad shots. They had 0 field goals in the final 2 minutes and 25 seconds of the game. Iowa capitalized, taking a 73-71 lead on back-to-back threes from Peyton and Bryce Sandford, that brother duo, with 4 minutes left. But Nate Bittle wasn't done. He hit a mid-range jumper that put Oregon up 76-75. And clutch free throws from Brandon Angel and Jackson Shelstad stretched it to 80-76. Iowa clawed back to 80-78, setting up a chaotic finish that we already covered. Let's give some flowers though, right? Nate Bittle was phenomenal in this game. 21 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks, including the game saver. His two-way dominance was the difference in this game, and his efficiency, 8 of 13 shooting, showed why Oregon leans on him so heavily. Point blank, without Bittle, Oregon doesn't win this game. Bittle's presence and versatility are Oregon's backbone to their team. Bartholomew, Bamba, and Angel each scored 10 points as well, stepping up when Shellstad faltered. Bamba tied his career high with 6 assists, showing his growth as a playmaker, while Bartholomew's timely threes kept Oregon afloat. Off the bench, Evans was a spark with 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 17 minutes. Huge props to him for delivering in a tight game. For Iowa, Peyton Sandfort was electric. 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 9 of 16 shooting. He's a star player. He's an NBA caliber player, and his second half threes nearly stole the show. Josh Dix added 19 points, and Evan Braun's averaging just 1.8 points per game, exploded for 15 points off the bench. That trio combined for 59 of Iowa's 78 points, and their aggression kept the Hawkeyes in it because Oregon's late game execution was atrocious. Their offense stalled, and Shellstad's turnover with 12 seconds left was inexcusable. You can't give a desperate team like Iowa this kind of opening on the road. Defensively, they got torched from deep in the second half. Iowa went 7 for 14 from 3, and Oregon's perimeter D was just nowhere to be found. It was absolutely a disappointment. Jackson Shellstad went 0 for 7 for the night. It was a disaster. 3 points from the free throw line kept him from a total goose egg. Oregon's lucky they had enough firepower elsewhere to survive, aided by Iowa's Achilles heel of finishing at the rim. Sandfort and Dix missed point-blank layups in the final minutes. Those are the shots you want and they'll live with, but ones you have to make in crunch time. Rebounding was another killer. Oregon grabbed 14 offensive rebounds for 19 second chance points, while Iowa managed just 8 and 5, respectively. Without Owen Freeman, their front court depth is very thin, and it showed. For Oregon, this win snaps a four-game road losing streak in Big Ten play and boosts their resume with another quad one victory, their 7th of the year. They've got to clean things up in their late game sloppiness, though, if they want to stay off the bubble and lock in a better NCAA tournament seed. They can't keep flirting with disaster. Bittle's consistency and Shellstad needs to be finding his shot will be critical. Iowa's season is teetering at 14 and 12 overall, 5 and 10 in the Big Ten. They're fading fast, and they need to shore up their interior defense and rebounding. Even though they are without Owen Freeman, they need to rely on Bronze and DeBelle to step up. Offensively, they're potent. They've got to convert in the clutch. This loss stings, especially for those who want Fran McCaffrey to stick around. Sometimes you just have got to find a way, and Oregon did that, but Iowa did not. They made mistakes and overcame them in large part due to Bittle's impact, but the team's lack of ball movement and defensive lapses late remain to be issues. This win was ugly, but they need to learn from it and learn fast because the end of the regular season is quickly approaching. Although it's frustrating, Hawkeye fans can stay positive. You can tell that they want this really, really bad. This team, the players want this really, really bad, and even not as an Iowa fan, I want it pretty bad for them too, seeing how much they cared. They executed in the second half, kept themselves in the game. Braun's aggression, Drew Thelwell's effort, and his return to injury, even though Thelwell went scoreless, were impactful. Fran's taking heat, but credit where credit is due. He's playing young guys like Brock Harding and getting production from unexpected places. So, where do these teams go from here? For Oregon, this 80-78 win moves them to 19 and 8 overall, 8 and 8 in the Big Ten, slotting them 8th in the standings with a first round tournament bye. That's the playing game, going by those in sight. It's a massive boost for the NCAA tournament hopes, pushing them further away from the bubble. Their next test, a tough one at number 11 Wisconsin on Saturday. A win in Madison could mean a lot for this team. Iowa's now 14-12 and 5-10 in the conference, hosting Washington next on Saturday with the Big Ten tournament chances on the line. This loss piles onto frustrations for the Iowa fans, many of whom are losing faith in Fran McCaffery after 8 losses in the past 10 games. But let's defend Fran a bit, right? He's got a young roster missing key players like Owen Freeman, who went toe-to-toe with Oregon's team that was once considered a national contender. The fight's there. The results just aren't. Iowa's got to regroup fast, or the calls for the change will only get louder and louder. That's going to do it for this episode of the Big Ten Huddle. As always, comment, like, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating on podcast, follow us on social media. It's at the Big Ten Huddle. Simple, easy, to the point. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great